Hey there, bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. Thank you for joining me today for this week's book review, where I hope that I can give you the information that you need as parents to make wise choices for your children. I know how difficult it is to find great books for them to read, books that you know you can trust, that have great themes and values and nothing in them that you don't want. So hopefully my book reviews that I provide will be helpful to you and letting you know which books are worth a read and which ones are maybe worth a pass. So this week's book review is Safe Harbor, and I'm going to do my best to not butcher the name. The author is Padma Venkatraman. So certainly, Padma, I'm so sorry for butchering your name. And I have actually read another book of hers that was called The Bridge Home, which even for adults, I highly recommend that story. It is such a powerful story. Not one that I would definitely give to middle grade readers. Depending on some of their experiences and whatnot, that could be a little bit much for them. But it is a beautiful story. So many themes and things weaved into that. And if you're able to actually get the audio of that, the author herself narrates it. And it is just a fabulous story that will just grip your heart. Maybe as an older family read aloud, but parents, I would definitely recommend that you check that out first before giving it to your reader to make sure that, you know, that one's okay, because some of the themes could be a little bit much depending on their age. But this week's book review is her other novel, Safe Harbor, and this is a story told in verse, and it's about a young Indian girl named Geetha and her new life in America. So just to kind of give you a little taste of the story, I'm going to just kind of read the opening here. And it's titled Our Dreams. Geetha, we're almost here, my mother whispers. I scowl because she woke me up. Wiggle because the cramped airplane seat won't let me stretch. Yawn because I feel like I only just fell asleep. In my dream, which burst when Amma's voice poked it, we were still in India. In my dreams, I was a famous musician, playing my bamboo flute at the music academy, playing powerfully enough to move my packed audience to stillness before thunderclaps of applause rose to the vaulted ceilings, and my father strode on stage and clasped me in his arms because I'd brought him back to us through my music's magic. In reality, I'm slumped in the stale airplane air, my ears popping like docile flour on a hot griddle, and the plane drops down low, landing in my mother's dream. And so that just kind of gives you a little taste of the story. This is a story told in verse, and so depending on the age of your reader or how avid of a reader they are, this may or may not be a narrative structure that they're quite ready for, so definitely take that into consideration. Whether or not you want to check this book out. But as far as the themes and stuff in this story are definitely great, and I'm just going to share a little bit about that with you now. So as you can tell from the beginning, and what I was saying is that Geetha and her mom are moving to America from India, and they're trying to start a new life, and they're living near Geetha's aunt and uncle. So the big news, though, move is not the only thing that is rocking Geetha's world. Her parents are also now divorced. And so starting over is hard, and without her extended family makes things even harder. Furthermore, Geetha's mom also seems to struggle with mental health in the story and seems to have had some depression in the past, the way that it's presented in the story. Some of it is obviously Geetha's perceptions and things that happen and conversations that she's overheard. As a result, for the first half of the book, Geetha actually worries about what will happen if her mom doesn't stay happy and has what she calls an episode. And so in addition to worrying about her mom, she's also being bullied at school, and she doesn't want to be a tattletale, and she isn't really sure what the right thing to do is. Fortunately, she does make a friend early on in the story, and so his name is Miguel, and he inadvertently introduces her to the library, and Geetha loves books, and so friendship is born from this. Not just a love for books, but Miguel also has a love for music and nature and the preservation of it. One day at the beach, they find a seal that's almost strangled to death by trash from the ocean. And so they manage to assist in saving the seal. And much of the story in here is they're going and they're checking on their seal. And ultimately, he does get released back into the wild at the end. And this is where some of Geetha's music comes into play, because she helps calm the seal while they're waiting for people to help rescue and save him, but also she uses her music as a means to kind of help him recover. The short novel in verse definitely touches on a wide range of topics. So we have divorce, friendship, mental health, verbal abuse, superstition, environmentalism, global warming, courage, and a lot. I guess they don't call it global warming anymore, climate change. And so in my written review that you'll find at holdingsteadfastreaders.com, so go to that website, you will find way more details. I'll also link it below in the notes, and you can find extra information there on particular quotes or anything that might be concerning. So because she is just for parents who are of the Christian faith, so obviously being from India, she has a Hindu religion, and so that aspect of the story is present. So she talks about doing yoga. They talk about an altar that they build in their house, and certain customs and things that they do in regards to that. So definitely something to make you aware of, but I think it's an opportunity for readers to learn and engage with people who are of a different faith, and where they might be coming from and some of their customs in that. The girl in the story who is the bully, she's really just known as the shiny smile girl, and she calls Geetha names. She spills her food at lunch. She laughs at her. She ends up causing her to have like a reaction. She touches some nettles at lunch. And so she's pretty mean. One of the girls that are in that group, though, she kind of tries to reconcile with Geetha, especially towards the end, and saying, you know, like she wasn't trying to be a part of any of that. And then in the author's note is really cool. So I would encourage your readers to not ignore the author's note, because it does reveal some of the autobiographical tie-ins within the story. But ultimately, stories like this, I think, can help open up great discussions about other worldviews, about other faiths, about other situations, considering what it might be like to navigate living in a whole new country, a new language, new world, new customs. Readers that have a love for animals and caring for our world will definitely enjoy this story and those aspects of it. And then ultimately, all readers can gain empathy and understanding just for the difficulties in life, and for even for creatures. And then I just want to leave you with one of the quotes from the book that I just thought was definitely a wonderful thing for young readers to read. And it says, "Love is about holding tight with our hearts and not our hands, but not our hands." And so that's on page 145 in this particular book. But overall, great story. Parents, definitely check out my written review just to make sure that everything's good for you, and giving it to your readers, so that way you have information that you need. But ultimately, I really enjoyed Safe Harbor. I think it's a great book that several readers will really enjoy, and it opens up great discussions for parents and their children to have. So definitely a thumbs up for Safe Harbor.